Yo, brothers and sisters, pump up the volume. What's going on, man? Hopefully you guys are having a nice little hoot nanny of a day. Dude, we got a lot to kind of unpark in the markets because we had kind of a little bit of a full-blown reversal today. You know, the QQQs ended up 0.25%, and at one point it was down about 0.7, 0.8%. And so we had a really nice kind of intraday reversal. Looked like for a second we were going to kind of bleed off, and then my thinking was, you know, when the FOMC comes out, you know, we ramp it, even if they don't cut rates and all that shit. It doesn't really matter. The market's not really moving on rates anymore. It's more of this AI stuff that's got this thing goosed up in the caboose like this. But man, this was a nice turnaround today. I wouldn't read too much into it. You know, we're still stuck in range. You know, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 days of range. Guys, one thing to remember is when you have such a large magnitude and duration of a move. Magnitude means, right, how much it moved, and duration is, right, how long it moved. When you have such a large, large magnitude duration of move, you know, oftentimes, you know, chopping around for periods of time is very beneficial to the market. It allows fresh buyers to emerge, allows some stocks to rest, allows new leaders to maybe emerge. And so, you know, this kind of action, we kind of needed it. It would have been nice to get the tap back to the 50-day moving average, frankly, but maybe we don't get it, you know, and I think tomorrow's Fed thing is probably a little bit of a nothing burger. The Federal Reserve meetings matter a lot in bear markets. Once the market turns bullish, yes, there will be a reaction. You know, you might pop up 1%, down 1% kind of thing, but it won't be like, you know, it was, you know, in the beginning of, you know, 2023 and, you know, end of 2022 where the market was really moving wild on the Fed. You know, that's not really in the cards right now. So just something to kind of be mindful of as you're going through this. There'll be a reaction, but it's not going to be like the old days. You don't get your popcorn out, pop a beer, put your hands down your pants and get a little party going, right? It's more of a little bit of a yawner. People are going to be looking to see if the old Powell comes in and gives some kind of hint whether he cuts or not cuts. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see cuts just completely off the table. And I wouldn't be surprised for him to say, hey, man, we're going to start doing this at some point very soon. But we have no reason to right now. Jobs are strong. This is strong, right? It's like, what jobs, right? Fucking good Lord, right? But that's the way it goes. So let's get into the watch list because there's some good-looking stocks out there. I'm going to give you a nice short and sweet watch list that I think is going to be really up your alley here. CDLX. So this had a PR out, big volume, this 20 million shares. Inside day. Watch this 1480 spot. If it busts through, about 1467. If it busts through, that thing is hotter than a goose's caboose right there. Kava's got a nice, right, breakout. We're building out a flag here. Retested into the breakout spot. It's looking really nice. Look at the volume accumulation on this. It's a good God-fearing Christian setup. I've been watching this, you know, CLF for a while. This is a swing setup, really, if it can break. It's going to need about an inside day or two because you never want to buy a breakout on day 4, guys. Write that down. You don't want to buy a breakout on day 4. You never want to be the last man to the gangbang, right? You want to be number 1. You want to be number 2. If you're going to be last, you better have been getting out of prison, and you got no choice, right? Now, old NVDA is still flagging out here. Let's keep an eye on this. I was using NVDA because it's going to be easier to trade. They just did a split. But you can see here, this is flagging. I may need a back and fill here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing make a little run and then kerplunk later. You know, these things never die the way you want. You know, and at this point, the way the price action was today, you know, you rip down and you just completely reverse 50 points. I mean, who are we to say no, right? So I'll use NVDL. They did a split, so the volume is really good on this now. It's going to trade a lot easier than old NVIDIA. And it's a little 1.5, so you get a little oomph to it. Because the thing is with NVIDIA, it's so damn expensive, you got to trade options on it, but even the fucking options are expensive. Sorry for the swearing. I apologize on that. Oof. Right? Hey, may I get excited about this stuff. Now, DocuSign, so you got this push over here. You had an earnings breakout over here. It didn't not much of a breakout, right? But now you got nice consolidation here. You're starting to push through this thing. Yeah, the market's been in a grind, but there's some new setups starting to emerge, right? Yeah, everybody's just been diving into MSTR and SMCI and NVDA, but there's all these other setups that are starting to emerge that are looking really good. Hey, lift, 1 task, 2 tasks, 3 tasks. Man, holding right into the bone zone here. This could break out literally any day. And when it does it, it's just going to go whoop, rip like 7-8% that day, and then the chase is on. And then, you know what? The market shifted a little bit. It could do kind of a PLTR action where you break out and then kind of fade back. I think we're going to see a lot more of those as the market sits in a little bit of range. But we are setting up for a little breakout here. And you never know. Maybe the market starts to come out of range. My guess is, though, we need more consolidation. But that's just a guess. In the end, dude, what are we? We just draw squiggly lines on charts. We make an educated assumption and we manage our risk. And, and we make things look pretty. That's the nature of the game here. DELL, man, you're kind of trend line here. It's what we call like a falling wedge. And you're sitting right at the 20 SMA. If you can come out of this zone of love right here, I think you got yourself a nice spot. Boom, 109 will probably do it. That's the confirmation entry, right? If you get the inkling that the market's hot and you see it intraday set up before the confirmation entry, you can take that, right? You're not trying to be the president of the confirmation society. Sometimes you got to close your eyes and do the stranger. That's a 90s reference. Some of you guys may not get that one. Hey, old Donkey Kong here. Test. This is more of a swing setup, too. It just doesn't have a good ATR to really day trade. But you got a nice look on this. It's been a good trender this year. Hey, Ned, I've been eyeballing this one like an MF mofo here. It was at 115 on its earnings day, man. It's had a nice 1.5, 2 months to consolidate here. Resting right over the 50-day moving average. Like, it's a matter. It's getting close. Like, you're going to get a little volatility squeeze on this thing. Netflix, test. On Friday, it tried to bust through and they faded the gap. Tried to bust through again, pulled back through. Now we're kind of testing this thing. Let's see how this reacts around here. Every time it's tested it, into the resistance, it's been too extended intraday. It either gapped up or it spiked up and used its ATR. If a stock if there's no PR, in absence of PR, if a stock uses up its ATR into the breakout, that breakout's probably going to fail, right? So always keep an eye. I keep 3 different ATRs on my list. I got the regular ATR that tells me how much the stock moves in dollars, cents. Percentage ATR, just so I get a gauge in percentage points, because all these damn stocks are $200, $300, $500, $1,000 now. That used to be 50, so we got to kind of eyeball them in percentage terms. And I like to have, right, an ATR per 5-minute chart. I use the last 20 candles on that. And that'll tell me on a, candle by candle basis when I'm day trading how much a stock can move, but it also will give you a great guide so that you're not setting your stop losses too tight and all that kind of fun stuff. So hopefully, this kind of gets like a little bit of a flattish open, and then it can kind of test the breakout spot. Then I think it's going to do good. Old BZ here. Breakout, nice orderly pullback on lower volume into support here. You're retesting that breakout spot and the 9 EMA. I think this has got a chance. If China stocks can hold up. Hey, gold, you'll have to trade options on this, but you've got yourself, the all-time high breakout. Pretty orderly pullback here. I'm looking for a little bit more into the bone zone. You probably go like a month out, maybe 2 weeks out. And I think, you might have yourself a nice little swinger on that one. Google, a low open on this one. You get a gap down on this, fill some of this gap. I think we take it long, That Apple news, not much of a reaction. I mean, gapped up huge and then just kind of faded off. But a lot of that was because it already ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days into it. Guys, when a stock has news out, but it's running 7, 8 days in front of it, there's not that much to do, right? So you got to be a little bit mindful, like it's already too extended, that news might have already been in the works here. And old AMD testing right on the 50-day moving average, dude. It had a nice bottom right where the 50-day moving average was. Had a pretty good pop, about 5 points, 6 points, whatever. And, it looked like it was cooking, and it kind of faded off into the close. But I think a week open, a retest of the 50-day moving average, I'm a buyer of this for a swing. If not, lower open. And you know what? If it spikes up and then pulls back, I'd still be interested in that, at least for a gap fill, at least for a gap fill. But this thing is pretty oversold now, right? You were at just 230 on the blow-off day. Everybody's going to be asking me about SMC. I don't like trading this name, the spread, the FOMO, the regrets. I mean, geez, like you got all of them in one package when you deal with SMCI, right? It's like a bad night on the town, right? You wake up with way too many regrets on this one. But I would say if you got a big gap down on this again tomorrow, you flip it for a long. The 9 EMA is all the way up here. I'd want to see this thing I don't want to see this thing below these mid-8s, right? Below these mid-8s. Dude, the range on this is so big, man. It pops 70 points, but you don't even notice, right? It's like, it looks like it moved barely at all, but like even from here to here, right, is freaking 60 points. So big gap down on this. I'm talking like 4 or 5%, something like that. I think would really set this thing up nicely, or a flush even below yesterday's low, and then you could play for the rebound. But once again, I don't think I will play this myself. It just brings out the worst impulses in traders. I've not been trading at all, but I know myself. This is the type of stuff that gets me drinking my sorrows away after the fact, right? It never works out the way I want, so. Yeah, I usually leave these bad boys alone. So, guys, let me know if you have any questions, man. And be safe tomorrow. The Fed comes in. It's at 2, but then he starts talking at, 2:30 or whatever, 3. And then the market will start to pick up once he starts talking. It's a crapshoot, man. It's really, I play it because for the love of the game. And, I have really good instincts and, very long, dexterous fingers. But it's not for everybody. So, there's no it's no big deal. Just sit these things out because it is a little bit of a crapshoot. I love you guys. Smash that like button. Let me know if you need anything. Peace.